Howdy, everybody. Good morning. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the things I wish I knew before I bought an adventure bike. Now, I'm on this Yamaha R9 because if I was on an adventure bike, you would have clicked off the video already. Because I know what it's like. You guys see a big dorkmobile like that, and you think to yourself, no way, I'm not sticking around. I will not give you my sweet retention on this video. But I got to talk about it today, because it kind of blew my mind when I got an adventure bike. Okay, let me rewind the clock for you a little bit as we go down this beautiful scenic road with too much traffic for me to drive quickly on. The year was 2024, and I had gotten the opportunity to pick up a Touareg 660 from Aprilia. It was a nice deal that they facilitated for me. They said, hey, we'll give you this bike. Why don't you make some cool videos with it? And I was like, I can do that. And it was very different than a giveaway bike, a loaner bike, because it is my motorcycle. It's titled in my name. I just paid taxes for it. So I got a pretty sweet deal on the bike. So with that, I proceeded to use the bike. I started kind of dipping my toes a little bit in some longer rides. I started experimenting with riding a little bit more kind of adventure-y style rides, like they were like maybe 80-20 road gravel type of things. Stuff that I always felt a little uncomfortable doing with the desert sled. Although I did do plenty of that with the desert sled. I rode that thing down to Mexico and did a bunch of crazy rides with it and really enjoyed it, but it was the wrong tool for the right job, let's say. And at first, I rode the bike and I was like, man, this thing's huge. It's got this big front wheel on it. I don't know if I really gel with this thing, you know? It just felt like there was way too much distance between me and the front wheel. And then I started riding it more and more and more, and something just clicked, man. I think the thing that I was really surprised by after I got my first adventure bike was that I just wanted to ride all the time. It totally changed my perspective on what a weekend ride could be. You know, it used to just be these quick out and back type of things. I'd go out for like 2 hours maybe, just hit up my favorite twisty roads around town and just go back home. It really expanded my horizons. My radius of riding in Austin here expanded by at least 2x. It was at least a circle that was at least 2 times bigger. Because I thought to myself, well, now I can ride a machine pretty darn comfortably for an hour or two on the highway and then get to some cool destination or do some cooler riding that I normally wouldn't do. And so I started just trying out some different rides and doing longer distance stuff and kind of enjoying the bike for what it was designed to be used for, which is an adventure touring bike. They call it I think it's an enduro touring or something like that. You know, it's off-road capable enough, but long distance enough. And I just started really enjoying just, picking a destination and swinging a leg over my bike and just riding the whole damn day. And my style of riding on the Touareg has really changed from when I first got it. I ride the bike pretty damn aggressively because to me, once you figure out how to ride a big adventure bike, and it's a middleweight, so it's not even that big, it only weighs about 450 pounds, but once you gel with it, and the Touareg specifically does this super well, you can hustle those things pretty darn fast. I mean, I famously took mine on track and was defeating leader bikes and having a great time cutting people up on the inside and just slamming the bike around corners and literally almost tucking the front end many times, but didn't send her down to the ground, which was pretty sweet, and just loving the bike, man. And you can start riding them really aggressively on street, and to be honest, with about 85 horsepower, you can use pretty much 100% of the bike on a twisty road, and you're just railing this thing. You're just riding it to an inch of its life, and you're not doing crazy speeds. So that was something that kind of surprised me about adventure bikes, is how hard you can ride them. And again, the Touareg is the most sporty of the middleweight bikes. I've ridden a Tenere 700 and it doesn't really feel that capable in the twisties, but the Touareg has that Aprilia racing DNA, man. It just feels really good to rail around corners. So I was really surprised at how, even for me, as a dyed-in-the-wool sport bike guy, I was like, oh, you can really hustle this thing around. This is a lot of fun. The second thing that I wish somebody had told me before I got my ADV was it's just going to ruin all other motorcycles for you. I get the chance to ride a lot of different bikes throughout the year, between the giveaway bikes, loaner bikes, press events. I'll usually ride at least 15 to 20 different motorcycles a year. And I was just floored at how, no matter what I was riding, you know, because I usually will take a bike and commute back and forth to Yamanoop HQ just to get a sense for what it's like. I'll take it out on a weekend ride just to get a vibe. Basically, no matter what bike I've tried this year, every time I come back to the Touareg, it's like, I'm just like, oh, thank God I'm back on this bike. Like, nothing is as fun, nothing is as simple, nothing is as comfortable. Like, it doesn't do anything that great, but it does everything pretty damn good. And at this stage of my riding, I love having a bike that I can basically do whatever I want with it. It's a lot of fun. Look at the second gear on this bike. If only we got an ECU flash. That was dead like a fish, man. So it's really cool using the bike in this really enjoyable way, like getting the motorcycle out for a fun long weekend ride, or like chucking it down some fun dirt gravel trails or something. Like, it's just down for whatever. And what was weird is that that's what I used my desert sled for. There was a long time where, you know, from 2019 up until recently, like, I kind of used that bike for that purpose, but it was missing that final ingredient of like long distance and just general comfort. You know, a scrambler, an air-cooled one at that, you know, it can do highway. It's not really the best at it. I've taken the scrambler on many long trips. I've, like I said, gone to Mexico. I rode it out to Big Bend. I've taken it to Big Bend, trailered it there a couple of times. Like, it's the type of bike that, it, you know, like I said, it does everything pretty good, but the adventure bike just ruins you for everything, man. The adventure bike really just lets you go and do whatever you want. Like, you could just go and have so much fun with the bike, because it's just so capable in so many different situations. And it's to the point now where I don't really even want to ride anything else, which is kind of absurd, right? It's a bit ridiculous that all I really want to do is ride this like 85 horsepower, like crappy, big fat dirt bike looking thing. But I promise you, it's the best thing ever. The thing just rips, man. It's super fun. The other thing I kind of wish somebody had told me before I got an ADV, it's a two-parter, right? Number one, it's so good at commuting. I never imagined that a middleweight adventure bike would be as good at commuting or just like cutting up traffic as it is. But for the type of commute I do here in Austin, which isn't a lot of like big, fast highways, it's a lot of like back roads and sweeping country 2-lane roads, kind of like this one that I'm on right now. Dude, the adventure bike rips for these kind of roads, because you're not going to go much faster than about 70 or 80. You know, that's really pushing it, because you guys see speed limit's 55 over here. So in traffic, you know, you're maybe doing 60, 70, so it's like so comfortable at that speed. But then the best part is, if you got to jump over some curves, or, you know, you want to get a little, let's say, suggestive with the law, you know, cut over some dirt, jump, like, you could just do whatever you want with the adventure bike. It's like a cheat code for traffic. It reminds me of when I used to commute with a dual sport. I used to have my Husky FE501 or my WR250. But the problem with those bikes is that they're also not comfortable for long distances. They have piddly little motors, so they can't get up and go after about 70 miles an hour, and they're a little flighty and lightweight. It's like the adventure bike solves both of the problems I had with the dual sport and with the scrambler. And I'm going to be honest, I've known that I was going to get a middleweight adventure bike since like 2020, I think, because I was kind of like, yeah, this bike does everything I need to do, but I resisted it. I resisted it because I was like, I don't want to be the dork with the ADV bike. And I had this whole complex. I had to look cool on my motorcycle, so I had the scrambler. Man, once you embrace the fact that the adventure bike is simply a tool for the job, brother, life gets so good, man. Life on that ADV is so freaking good. Now, I'm aboard this Yamaha R9, and it would behoove me to tell you that this is a giveaway bike on my website, yamanoop.co. I'm riding this bike, but I really wish I was on my Touareg. But if you are in the market for a sport bike, you are in for a treat. If you sign up for a membership right now, you'll get locked and loaded to win this motorcycle. I've given away 68 different bikes, so that's a pretty long record. About 5.5 years, or 6.5 years actually, I don't know. It's been a long time that I've been doing this whole giveaway bike thing, and no signs of slowing down. It's a ton of fun. I really enjoy it, and it's my way of saying thanks to you for supporting the show. So head over, become a member, get started. Specifically with commuting and in traffic as well, the Touareg and adventure bikes in general excel really, really well at being incognito. When I'm on the R9, you know, if I split between some traffic or I decide to do something maybe a little bit questionable, people already start honking their horns and I hear people yelling and getting upset. And I've tested this before. Well, I'll then, you know, the next day, I'll do just like 3 times as much nonsense on the Touareg. And I think because you look more like a respectable adult on an adventure bike, nobody honks. Nobody honks at me on my Touareg. I'm like cutting up the shoulder, filtering through traffic, doing wheelies. Nobody says anything. But if I'm on a bright red sport bike, I literally get pulled over immediately when I cut traffic on the shoulder, which happened to me when I was on the Panigale. The very first time I took the Panigale V2S out on its ride, it was literally the first 2 miles I took the bike, I got pulled over because I cut the traffic on the shoulder. I do it on the Touareg every single day. Every day I ride that bike, I do something legally, suggestively, you know, questionable in traffic, and nothing happens. Nothing happens. So if you want to do shenanigans, brother, I cannot recommend an adventure bike highly enough. They are fun, they are peppy, they are playful. It's like, you know, a big fat dirt bike on stilts, and you get away with murder, dude. Especially if you have a stock exhaust. Nobody cares what you do because they just assume that you're following the rules because you look like a dweeb. It's so sick. It's like a cheat code for engaging in criminal offenses in traffic. And this is something I think ultra high level squids have figured out, because I've started to see content of people doing really stupid stuff with adventure bikes. Like there's a guy on YouTube, I think his name is Jim Jam, and he has an Africa Twin, and this guy just like, he's going like 100 miles an hour, and he just tosses the bike into a grassy median, just starts going like 100 miles an hour in the grass, and then goes back on the street, and nothing happens. Try doing that on a sport bike. Try going 100 in general on a sport bike without risking your license, looking over your shoulder. I'm telling you guys, the adventure bike is the way for you to have fun on a motorcycle. You get to go long distances, you get to use 100% of it on twisty roads. If there's, dude, the other thing about them that's amazing, if you have bumps in the road or potholes or whatever, dude, suspension travel, you just soak that thing up. I literally do not slow down for any speed bump. I just lift my butt off the saddle a little bit and just let the bike absorb all of it and just keep it moving. I've literally hit speed bumps at like 70 miles an hour. Nothing happens. The bike just kind of shrugs it off and goes, whatever, you know? So it's obviously a pretty far cry from a Janus that hits a bump at 60 and death wobbles itself. So it's actually really funny. Like I'll jump on these more serious sport bikes and I ride them way more tame than I do this big derpy adventure bike. I ride the adventure bike like an idiot. And I'm not going very fast, so I'm not that worried about losing life and limb. But man, the shenanigans you do with these bikes are just absurd. It's completely absurd. The last point I'll make here of things that I wish I knew before I got an ADV bike. So when I got my Scrambler in 2019, you know, it's got a 19-inch front end, some taller suspension. Like on paper, it seems like a pretty decent little off-roader. There's a big difference when you get a real deal adventure bike. Especially like the Touareg or the Tenere. Man, they're so well set up for doing off-road stuff. It's a big difference in the confidence you get. The Touareg specifically carries its weight very low, so when you're trundling along, you know, like a rocky trail, and, you know, the suspension's really getting a big workout, you're climbing down like a shelf or something, and it's like, blow, 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 blow. The bike just doesn't care. Whereas the Scrambler would really get out of sorts. I remember there was part of a trail that I was on in Mexico where I actually bent it because the bike caught a divot in the trail, and I just sent it, and I yeeted the bike me off of it, the trail, and I actually bent my toe, and my toe is still bent to this day. I've seen x-rays, doctors, all that stuff, and they're just like, does it hurt? I'm like, not really. They're like, well, I guess you just got a bent toe. So thanks, Scrambler, for giving me a bent toe. But the adventure bike, god damn, it's almost like engineers designed it to do that task, right? But it just does it so much better than you could ever imagine. Like, no bike that big should do the things that they can do that easily. And the confidence they give you to do them is also absurd. So that's the last point I wanted to make here as I talk your guys' ear off about my adventure bike and how much I love it and all that good stuff. But that's just some of the stuff I wish people told me, man. I'm having so much fun on the Touareg, and I am like fully converted to an adventure dad at this point. I do not care what you say. These bikes are so much fun for regular street riding. They're great for commuting, and they just do everything pretty damn well. And I think I'm going to rock a middleweight ADV for quite a few number of years. I don't really see myself getting anything else. I could definitely see maybe in like 5 or 6 years, I just decide to stop doing the off-road thing at all. Like, it's not even off-road, like little gravel trails and stuff like that. We're not talking, you know, enduro in the mountains and whatever. But, you know, it's like I could see myself maybe sticking to something more road-oriented. You know, that Ducati Multistrada V2S sounds pretty damn good to me, or that Triumph Tiger 800. Something that has a little bit more power but is more sport and street-oriented might be the next move after I've had my fun. But, man, I'm having a great time on the adventure bike. So that's going to wrap up the video for you today. I hope you enjoyed hearing my musings on how much I love the ADV life and how it's just, yeah, I wish I'd done it sooner, man. I really wish I'd just gotten into the ADV thing way sooner, because it's a riot. It's so much fun. It's really like reinvigorated my love of just like swinging a leg over my bike on a weekend and just hitting the road and just putting on some tunes in the cardo and just having a blast. It's super fun. All right, boys, that's going to wrap it up for today. Thanks for watching today's video. I appreciate it. We'll catch you in the next one. See you later.